and welcome to today's video. Today we're here to check in for the third week of February, and so part of this video every single week is that I sit down, I compare what we spent so far for the month to what we budgeted, and then we put together a plan to either stick to our budget or to kind of adjust things so that we are ultimately achieving our financial goals. So this week has been eventful, to say the least. It has been crazy. We've had a lot of things happen this week, and you're gonna see all of that in a couple minutes when we sit down and look at the numbers. But basically, we did take a little house hunting trip, so you're gonna see, you know, what that meant in terms of our budget there. We also signed the girls up for some activities. We have been kind of putting it off for a while because we thought like, oh, maybe we'll move really quickly, but we're still very unknown. So we signed the girls up for like February and March stuff, and then hopefully by like the spring, summertime, we'll have a better idea of what we're doing. So we did that, and then the last most exciting part of this week is that we actually had a pipe burst in our basement. And when I say exciting, I don't mean that. I'm being sarcastic. It was not fun. I was starting laundry, we were sitting down to eat dinner, and then all of a sudden we heard a bunch of water, kind of like a waterfall, and part of the pipe that like disposes of water from our washing machine just completely like fell apart. It's like an old metal pipe. So anyway, we had to replace that. Luckily, Jason is super handy and good with that type of stuff, so he was able to do it all by himself, and it wasn't that expensive. But then because of that breaking, we also had to get a new sub pump, so lots of fun stuff. But luckily, we have a sinking fund for it, so it wasn't too much of a big deal for us. But let's go ahead, now that we have like all of the eventful things that have happened, let's go ahead, sit down with the numbers, see how we're doing so far, put together a game plan to stick to our budget and to adjust things so that we are ultimately achieving our goals. Okay, so for our categories, we always track the same 5. We track groceries, eating out, household, gas for our cars, and then anything that may be unbudgeted. And the way that I like to do it is I use my monthly view to track all of my expenses. That's just kind of the way that's always worked for me. I like to see patterns, and so doing it this way definitely gives me that as an option. I do also track my sinking funds transactions, and that's in a completely different spot, so you'll see that in a second as well. So let's start with groceries. Groceries are going to be in pink, and the way that I do it is I just take a look from like the last time that we've recorded anything. So the last time that we had anything for groceries was back on the 1st. So we have all of these items here that are in pink that we need to record. So we had Jewel of $22.40. We had Aldi of $33.24. We had a few other items here, so $9.01. Costco of $31.07. And then $5. Which brings us to a total of $100.72. So we have been doing really well with groceries. I wish that I could tell you why we're doing well with groceries. Honestly, I don't have any idea. We're doing exactly the same that we always do. We're meal planning. We do like have some frozen items, like Jason's mom always makes soup, and so occasionally we will have like leftover, like frozen leftovers like that. That's what we're having tonight, is soup that his mom made a while ago. So sometimes we do stuff like that, but for the most part, like we're just, you know, meal planning, buying what we need for the week. So I don't feel like we're doing anything extra, but it seems to be working this month. So I don't know. Maybe it's because we're not grilling out. I feel like because it's been snowing so much and it's been so cold that we're not able to grill. And usually when we grill, we do like steaks and things that are a little bit more expensive. So maybe that's the reason. I honestly have no idea. Regardless, we have one more week left. We always go grocery shopping on Mondays. So we have the 22nd, the week of the 22nd. And we have $158.48. So what I normally give us for groceries is $125 per week. So as you can tell, we have more than what we actually need for the week, which will be good. Hopefully at the end of the month, we are you know, positive when it comes to groceries. Like hopefully we'll be under budget when it comes to groceries, but we will see. A lot can happen in a week. You will see that. Okay, so then for other items, let's next go to eating out. So for eating out, we did go to lunch one day. That was $15.10, and then $7.77. And you're gonna see our eating out is going to be a lot more than normal, and I think it's kind of like that. When we eat out a little bit more, then our grocery budget is a little bit less. That just seems to be the case. But with us house hunting, being away from the house a little bit more, of course that's kind of like a natural thing. So I have those two items. Then we got pizza one day, which was $35.11. We got pizza and salad. And then Jason treated Macy to a milkshake one day. I think that was yeah, she had this day off, and then this day was a snow day. So they had to go to the hardware store for some like pipe and stuff like that when it came to, you know, the whole water issue downstairs. So he picked her up a milkshake, which brings us to a total of $64.73. $64.73. Last time we spoke, we had $120.05 remaining, which means that now we have $55.32. And we honestly go eating out mostly on Saturdays. Like we'll get Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast on Saturday morning, and then we'll go out to eat on Saturday night. Not really go out, we'll just order something in or whatever it may be. But that brings me to what we need to do, which is take a look at how many more Saturdays we have. We have 2 more. So if I divide that 55 by 2, that means that we have $27.66 per week. So that really does limit us a little bit, because honestly, when we do Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, it's usually between like $10 and $15, which it doesn't leave us for very much after that. But we could always use our allowances to eat out, or we could use a little bit of our grocery money since we do have a little bit more there. So I try as much as possible to kind of stick to what we give us. So like if I do $500 for groceries and then $200 for eating out, I try to stick to like that $700 for the month. But I have become a little bit more lenient. Like if we decide, you know what, it'll just be easier one day to eat out, like I'm okay with using a little bit of our grocery money, as long as we're not going crazy. You know, like I don't want to go insane with eating out or anything like that, and I don't want to jeopardize like being over budget in a couple different categories. But I have definitely been a little bit more open, because it does make sense. Like if we eat out more, then our grocery budget is definitely going to be less. So just something to consider, but we are still on track. We still have money, which is great. And then for household is going to be anything in gray. So the only thing that we had was a trip to Costco. Jason picked up like, I think he picked up vitamins for him and Macy. He picked up toilet paper, dish like pod thing, so quite a bit. That was $71.46. $71.46. I was really hoping that we would not be anywhere close to our budget, but last time we spoke we had $105.98 and we spent $71.46, which means we currently have $34.52. So not bad, but again, I was kind of hoping that we would be like severely under for household, and it just seems like our comfort zone may be closer to like the 150 mark instead of 100. So that's just something that I'm going to keep in mind going forward. Maybe we need to increase our household budget a little bit more. You know, with having the 4 of us now, with toilet paper, and with like, you know, the amount of times that we're like running the dishwasher for meatless bottles and stuff, it may just be a new normal. So I'm trying to, again, keep an open mind to things. It is okay to eventually like increase your budget. I know for the longest time we were doing $75 per week. Like when Macy was 1, I believe we did $75 per week for food, and now we're at $150 or $125. So it has gone up over the last 4 years, which is totally reasonable. Like as Macy's eating more food, it's definitely, you know, it can be assumed that's gonna happen. You're gonna have to spend more money on food. Okay, next is gonna be gas. So we did fill up both cars, which brings us to $17.47 and $28.21, which is $45.68. $45.68. Last time we spoke, we had $65.28, which means that we have $19.60 remaining. I think we did just recently fill up both cars, so I think we should be good, but if one does need to be filled up again, it'll probably be the RAV4. We use that one probably the most. So again, $19 may not cover it completely, but that's okay. We're still in that range and it seems to be working, so that's just good to know. And then in terms of unbudgeted, we have had nothing so far, but we do have a couple items. And these are honestly just kind of like random things that I wasn't planning to do. So the first thing is we have the kids' activities. We signed Macy up for soccer, like a soccer/t-ball class. I think like half the class, like the first couple weeks, is going to be soccer, and then it's going to be t-ball. And we also signed her up for gymnastics. She's been begging us for that for a long time. We signed Mila up for like a little daddy-daughter class where they get to play with instruments and stuff like that, just so that she can interact with other people, because she is pretty afraid of other people. I think that's just kind of the nature of growing up during this time. So anyway, how I funded that actually was like $187, I think. So what I did is I used a little bit of our unbudgeted fund. Like, we don't budget anything for unbudgeted, but this was like the amount left over after I used other things. So $431 here. I also used our cash back from our Discover credit card. We do have a credit card and we pay it off completely at the very end of the month. We never have a balance, we never pay interest, but we do get cash back, and this month it was $72.17. So we used $72.16 from our cash back to fund their activities. And then we also had to pay our car insurance this month. That ended up being a lot less than what we had in our sinking fund. So I used the remaining balance there to fund the activities as well, because we've had like an overage for so long, and we will, if I keep our sinking fund amount at $150 per month, we'll continue to have that. So I figured, instead of just having this money sitting for no reason and just building up, why don't we use that money for the kids' activities? So with the cash back, with the extra money from our car insurance sinking fund, and then with a little bit of unbudgeted, we funded the girls' activities. I don't normally do stuff like that. I don't normally divide things up like that, but I just felt like it made the most sense, because again, we have had that money sitting in the sinking fund for car insurance for so long. We already put the money aside for something, so that just seemed to be the best option for us. And then we also put a deposit down for Macy's preschool. We are hoping that we find a house and we move into a school district that has full-day kindergarten. It's not a super common thing around us, but there are towns that do have it. Where we currently live, they only do half days. And I know you can like sign up with the park district and do like a full-day option, like where they go half of the time at the school and then half at the park district. But we just figured, if we're still around here, that she will continue to go to her private school for kindergarten, and then in first grade she'll go to like whatever school district that we're in. Again, our hope is that we don't have to keep her in the private school, because it does cost like $1,000 a month. It's like $10,000 a year for it, but we just had to have an option for full day. So the deposit was $102.85. I did already reach out to the like school director, and I just kind of mentioned that we are unsure about what we're doing, like we may move, and he reassured me that if there is a situation where we end up moving, that we're not obligated to pay the tuition, and that, you know, we can get our deposit back and all of that. So our total unbudgeted for the month so far has been $107.16. So not too bad at all. I always kind of strive for this to be zero, but things come up. Like, I didn't think that we were going to sign the kids up for anything until we figured out what we were doing with house stuff. And then I was like, you know what? They're only a couple months, so Like, I doubt we're gonna be moving in the next month and a half. Who knows, but I doubt it. So that is it for like our variable expenses. Now if we move into our sinking funds, let's see. I did pick up some blue light glasses and a cute little vest from my all-time favorite store. It's called Dry Goods. They have it in a lot of states, but that was $31.83. Again, I talked to you guys about the plumbing issue, so it was $53.72 for like the plumbing pipes and stuff, and then we had to spend $130.70 for the sub pump and then some extra little pieces to connect it. So our home maintenance fund is going to be negative by, you know, $50 or so, maybe $80 or so. That's okay, because we're gonna keep adding money to it. I have lots of other money in there that can float the negative sinking fund for a while, but I figured I'd mention that. It's going to be over for sure. Like I said, I used the rest of that sinking fund for the car insurance for the girls' activities. I did make sure to mark that here because I want to, like when I'm doing my 2021 review, like where I'm comparing what I thought the budget was going to be to my actual, I want to know that like that wasn't truly for car insurance. And then Jason did pick up diapers and wipes at Costco when he went, so that was $54.98. I do get a lot of questions about like how we keep track of things when, like, let's say Jason goes to Costco, because when he goes to Costco, he doesn't just get food, he gets household items, he gets diapers, sometimes he gets like clothes for himself. So there's a bunch of different things that I'm gonna have to split to make it work in our budget. And what I do is I just take the receipt and I just split it up. Like, I don't worry too much about the tax because honestly the tax doesn't matter too much. I know that it ends up being a lot if you spend a lot of money, but I try not to like worry too much about the taxes. You could, you know, like divide it and make it equal, but I usually just leave the tax for whatever category I know that we're like under budget a lot by. So for example, I think this week when Jason went to Costco, he picked up, again, diapers, he picked up a bunch of like household items, and he picked up, did I say groceries already? Anyway, he picked up a bunch of stuff. And I just used our grocery budget to like kind of float the tax because I knew that we had some extra wiggle room there. But again, if that's not something that you're comfortable with, if you want it to be a little bit more fair, you can totally divide it up based off of like what amount you're allocating to each category and do it that way. We have not received our tax refund yet, and we have not received our refund from our health insurance. I mentioned that last week, I believe. So I am tracking the health insurance claim. I have like reached out to them a few times, like just to make sure they have everything that they need. They said it would be 30 days from the time that they received it, which was January 25th. So it should be fairly soon that we should hear something, whether we're gonna get it or not. And then I have been tracking my allowance here on my sidebar here instead of doing like a cash divider. And I totally messed up. I ended up spending $1.09 over my budget. So what I'm gonna do is I have like a couple extra dollars that I have when I go get my eyelashes done, when I go get my eyebrows done. So whatever change I have left from that, I'm just gonna put that into our bank. So this $1.09 will be fine. I'm not gonna worry too much about it, but it does mean that I am done. I can't spend anything else. So it's the 18th and I have, 10 more days of no allowance. So just something that I figured I'd mention to you guys. When I added, this was Dunkin', when I added more money to my Dunkin' card, I thought $9 was what I had left, but really I should have probably did like $8. But anyway, just figured I'd mention that. I am all through with my allowance. But that is pretty much it for this weekly check-in. I hope you guys enjoyed kind of hearing a little overview of what's been going on with us this week. Let me know how things are going for you. I know we are not the only ones who experience issues with our house. I think a lot of the issue with our pipe had to do with us being gone and it being so cold, and then me doing laundry. I think it had water sitting in the pipes for too long, and it's just not used to doing that. So I hope you guys are all safe. I know in some areas of the country, like, people are dealing with no power, no water, and that's seriously scary. So I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope that you guys are sticking to your budget. Let me know how you guys are doing down below. I always love to hear what you guys are working on, or you know, if you're striving for something this month. So let me know down below. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.